Hello everybody, I'm TJ the Brickwright and welcome to my LEGO room, and today we are going over all the entries into the Mynock 2024 Squadron Contest. Pretty excited. I also wanted to let everybody know that the Mynock that will be replaced has officially been chosen, and I'm working on the story a little bit and what's going to happen. I already had it kind of in mind before we even started the contest, but I don't think we're ready to announce it yet. I think we're going to announce it when the winner is announced, and because I actually have to pull the Mynock Squadron out from storage, because Mynock Squadron has been in storage since the last time it was displayed, which actually wasn't last Brick Slopes, but there's actually been a couple other display opportunities that have been since then. So rather than taking them in and out all the time in the LEGO room, anything that is part of the display goes in the display boxes and stays there out of the dust. So happy day. So I'm going to pull it out next week and we'll get going. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is jump into this contest. So rules for voting. You're going to be voting in the comments down below. You're going to pick your top 4 people that you would like to win, and it is ranked choice voting. So the first person that you're choosing is going to get 4 points, the second person 3, 2, and 1 respectively. So it's going to go in a reverse order as far as what points get what. So just remember that. So ranked choice voting, and you're going to pick your top 4 and leave those top 4 in the comments down below, and then I'll go through each of those comments and check them and weed out any of the people who aren't voting properly, and we'll go from there. There are 20 entries for the Mynock Squadron contest this year, and I'm very excited. And we also have 4 people who were in the parts ball category, and we're going to go over those entries as well, not until the very end. So you're going to pick your top 4 and put your top 4 in the comments down below. Thank you very much, and let's get started. All right, so our first entry number 1 for voting, is by Jay Delava. This is the S-Wing. The S-Wing is actually a heavily customized and modified Z-95 headhunter. During the rebellion to restore the Republic, many engineers for the Incom Corporation had defected to the Rebel Alliance. I believe that is actually canon. They had brought with them their skill in engineering knowledge and plans for various fighters and ships, including the X-Wing and U-Wing. However, resources could often be scarce, especially parts for starfighters and ships. Due to this, some of the astute engineers and mechanics working with them would innovate with what they had on hand, and therefore truly demonstrate that necessity is very much the mother of invention. The S-Wing is a child of this necessity. Clugier, a Nikto, joined the rebellion at his first opportunity. For centuries, his people had endured servitude under the Hutt clans, and now a new oppressor, arguably more vicious and xenophobic, had replaced them. After witnessing various atrocities at the hands of these new masters, Clue made his way off-world and eventually ended up in the Tapani sector, where he joined a rebel cell known as the Vagabonds. Initially, he served as a mechanic and worked closely and under the mentorship of a former Incom engineer, Scora Wren. However, the Vagabonds were a small cell, and Clue often had to hop into the cockpit as a pilot. Over time and through experience, Clue proved to be more than adept at this role. Together, Clue and Scora had taken an old Z-95 and whatever other parts and odds and ends they could salvage and created the S-Wing. Scora, knowing the flaws of the Z-95, wanted to modify the ship to be more maneuverable and smarter. He actually has quotes around smarter, so I'm not being silly about that. Therefore, they had shortened the fuselage and overall profile. Inspired by the U-Wing, Scora and Clue fashioned the ship's signature swing wings, which can lock into attack position if engaging enemy ships. They also had equipped the ship with a more robust sensor array and ensured this had a Class 1 hyperdrive and nav computer pirated from a scrapped ARC 170. Not the last time ARC 170s will be mentioned. The S-Wing is shield equipped from a scrapped X-Wing and carries 2 wing-mounted repeating blasters, 2 nose-mounted medium lasers, and a proton torpedo launcher that does carry only 2 torpedoes, just like the X-Wing. During the rebellion, the S-Wing successfully served the Vagabonds as scout vessel as well as in an escort capacity. Clugier is currently looking to continue his distinguished career of both he and his trusty ship by joining the Mynock Squadron. So this is a really fun ship. I always think it's cool when you are able to combine techniques from different ships together to create something completely new. It's really fun. I mean, I do that with 99% of the ships I'm doing, including the one that sits right over here that will be displayed for brick slips. I already have a little sneak peek for the patrons of a picture. It doesn't look like much has been done, but sometimes the frame is the hardest part. So this is a pretty awesome ship. I like the little engines, the triple engines on the back. I'd like to see the folding. Yeah, okay, so the folding doesn't fold completely into the engines. The engines are completely separate, so that's awesome. The wingtip mounted blasters are great, and they swivel. Very smart. That's always something I always check, because on my BAAT I wasn't able to get the guns to swivel the way I wanted, so it doesn't always work every time. All right, so that is number 1. Number 2, we have Alexander. This is the Epsilon, a ship crafted from a V-Wing and TIE interceptor. Before we get too crazy, let's give you a backstory. This is Alaric Crosswing, not originally a pilot, but a fleet mechanic for an A-Wing squadron called Breaker Squadron. With his fascination for ships, he wanted to build something that was his own, and thanks to some scavengers, he was able to make a small interceptor of his own. Of course, its flight test came early with an immediate evacuation called during a heated dogfight. With most of Breaker Squadron down, he stayed behind to allow their frigate to evacuate. With a spare astromech, now best friend, R8B7, he was able to hold out long enough for the ship to escape. Hearing of his bravery, he was pointed towards Mynock Squadron due to the uniqueness of his ship. Now for some fun. As the rest of the squadron, the Epsilon contains no landing gear, for he didn't have time to properly add them. That's kind of how Mynock did it. That is definitely how some of them have gotten it. The original is because I am very bad at landing gear, although, once again, this new ship got good landing gear. He is stuck with skid plates for now. The ship also contains rapid-fire light and heavy laser cannons underneath to destroy enemy ships and shielding. On the top, the ordnance launcher is mounted last minute, likely due to the attack, showing the exposed cooling vents needed for these modular launchers. So, okay, we can see that on the left side here a little bit more than the right side. Oh, sorry, bump. But yeah, you can see how the right side has a more smooth area there, and the left side is definitely more mechanical. Ah, that's good job. Good job. Really good job. A lot of people could think that that's just decoration unless you had the opposite side that was intact. So very good. Very good design there. He wished to cover them, but he was told these exposed equipment would help him fit in. And it will in Mynock Squadron, that's for sure. The rear end is made from a TIE interceptor body with an escape hatch hollowed out for the iconic third engine, as well as twin ion engines. It contains 2 additional boosters under the wings for added boost and hyperdrive capabilities. I love that dark red helmet on that minifigure. That's great. Honestly, the minifig design is pretty amazing. Really good job. I think it's Han Solo's pants. I don't recognize that torso. Dang. I used to be able to know all of the different guys, but that's Anakin Skywalker's hair. That's a really good fig bash. I like that. That's really good. It looks unique, but also has a lot of familiar stuff, and that's perfect. The ship being a modified interceptor is just really brilliant. I love the picture comparing the X-Wing to your interceptor. This is a really smart way to give people a sense of scale on this kind of a build. It's sometimes hard to do, so that's pretty impressive. Here's that back engine that we were talking about at the end, and then the engines under the wing that also help facilitate the hyperdrive. A really good build. Fun technique on the very front of the ship, using the upside down bricks going across the front to give it that really fine point. Good design, Alexander. All right. Now we're into that was number 2, by the way, Alexander. Number 3 is by Hellas, a heavily damaged and restored variant of the A-Wing prototype. The left half is the repaired side, and the right side is the original with some minor alterations. Okay. Oh, hold on. Let me see. The left half is the repaired side, and the right is the original with some minor alterations. Okay. I think it's left hand when you're in the ship. So for us, it'd be the right side. Sorry. It's hard. It's not your fault. It happens. Happens to all of us. Sweet. Oh, look at that. I love the asymmetry on the back. Oh, that's fun. The exposed engine parts are really good. Look at that. A bunch of parts hiding in the back. That's fantastic. The pilot's name is Zay Samson Voss from Coruscant. Flunked out of the Imperial Academy and took a prototype A-Wing Imperial variant with him. While escaping, he was critically damaged, and when he made it to the Rebellion, his ship underwent extensive repairs, and he joined Mynock Squadron. Very fun. Very, very destroyed, too. Sorry, I didn't mean to go back to the other. So, number 3 is Hellas. Wow, that's fun. You guys know what a sucker I am for asymmetry. This is a fantastic ship. Really good on the asymmetry there. I should have brightened up the picture. I'm sorry. That's on me. Okay. Man. So it's got it's got the rounded engine on the one side. It reminds me a lot of Mandalorian ships because you've got like the Cormac class starfighter for the Mandalorians, and it's got the center rotating spot, and it's got the slit engines on the back, but then you also see a lot of Mandalorian ships that have rounded engines like the Fang Fighter. So this is fun. It definitely gives me some Mandalorian vibes, but also has some pretty cool. The striping is neat. Ah, man. There's just so much intriguing about it, and it seems like every time I'm looking at it, I'm seeing something a little bit new each time. I'd love to get a picture of the underneath of that with all those greebles. That's really cool. I don't even know what some of those pieces are. That's cool. All right, so that was number 3, was Hellas. Great job. All right, number 4 is by the Thetanelian. This project's name is the TIE Outcast. Go through the description here. The TIE Outcast was a heavily modified TIE fighter put together with the remains of an old ETA-2 class Jedi interceptor to make the ideal fighter for getting in and out of engagements. It was piloted by a veteran rebel pilot who was only known as the Baron by his fellow squad mates. He had an infatuation for collecting Imperial gear and equipment as to confuse his opponents during the opening of engagements. All right. The ship itself was equipped with 2 medium laser cannons on each wing, an ion torpedo launcher on the right wing, retractable solar panels on each wing, and a hyperdrive. During the Imperial era, the ship was known for intercepting Imperial vessels so that rebel corvettes could come in and pick up the valuables. After the fall of the Empire, it still saw use through the crushing of resilient Imperial remnants across the galaxy. The ship overall was known for its extremely fast speeds and for the stories of it eluding Imperial pilots with pure precision and skill. Okay, so good explanation as to why when he's even out of there, he's still wearing Imperial regalia. That's very important because if you just throw an Imperial character in there, a lot of people will go, "Hey, what's going on?" But it makes sense. People would see it from a distance and go, "Is that a TIE fighter?" It probably would fit in this particular one with the new Rebuild the Galaxy short that's going to be out later this year. The TIE fighter with like the X-Wing style wings, the Rebellion type. Pretty fun build, actually, on the inside of that. That's interesting. Minifigure just fits inside. But then you got the little solar panel flip downs. Man, if it were me, I would have done it on top and bottom. But just the ones on the bottom, it gives it a very interesting and unique shape. And as much as I love asymmetry, I end up making so much of my stuff symmetrical. It's so hard to build asymmetrical for me. I don't know why. And if it's asymmetrical, like it has to be so dramatic for me when I'm designing. So even just top to bottom asymmetry on those solar panel wings is really cool, I must admit. I like the supports for the cannons. They kind of... I know the one is probably just sagging a little bit on the upper side of the picture, but then just a little bit of wiggle. Supposedly, the laser cannons in Star Wars would have slight adjustments that they could do on the fly so that they could target things. That's why you see, like, on the TIE fighters in Episode 4, when they're blasting, like, at the X-Wings in the trench, at Wedge and Luke, that you'll see the lasers go out and then slowly pivot over towards the ship and then take it out. And it's because it's got computer tracking that's realigning as the lasers go so you can hit it better. So, very cool. I don't know if that's actually something that you were thinking about, but that's something I'm thinking about now. All right. So that's Thetanelian, and that was number 4. Right? Yeah, number 4, Thetanelian. Good job, Thetanelian. And we'll move on to number 5. This is by Everett. Let's see if we can get a good overall picture. There we go. A random A-Wing pilot. Oh, this sounds a bit familiar. It seems like there's a general thought process going between everybody this year. A random A-Wing pilot crashed on crashed on a planet, not necessarily Imperial, in the Outer Rim. He had to fix and modify his interceptor to get off the planet. Due to the high wind speeds, he added winglets to come out the side to make in-atmosphere flight easier. Once he got back to his squadron's capital ship, he kept making modifications. Even adding more engines and shrinking the size of his interceptor to make it slimmer and shorter. He never got to put his custom landing gear on because the mounts kept snapping. That's a good little detail. I like that. When he heard Mynock Squadron needs a new member, he got excited because he believes his interceptor would match with the design of Mynock's ships. So, really good use of the different elements to give it that greebly look that we're looking for from Mynock Squadron. That's really good. There's those little wings that can pop out for fighter mode, or as he mentioned, in atmosphere mode. Man, that's such a small ship to have an astromech and a pilot in it, but I gotta say, it'd probably be a pretty good ship. Probably be really fast. Yeah, it looks fast. I really like the bar that comes down from the side there on that angle going towards the forward cannons. Man, I don't know why I struggle so much to get those kinds of details on stuff, but that is really good. It's got tons of engines in the back. What is that, 5 different thrusters? That's really cool. Yeah, this thing would definitely be quick. Man, I wonder what kind of sacrifices you would be making on the ship. I mean, you're reducing in size. Makes me wonder if it has a workable hyperdrive. Not that that's required for a Mynock Squadron or anything, but just makes me wonder. Like, usually when you go for speed, you got to sacrifice some other things. Something else has got to be a little bit, you know, there's like a trifecta of things that you have to design around. And if you don't get it just right, you end up being too short in one place or the other. But this one looks really fun. That cockpit is really good. Oh, he's using the Lego hands so your guy has control. I love that technique. That's such a good technique. All right, so that is number 5, and that is Everett. All right, number 6. This is Corey. All right, and the story is that a pilot named Nikto Renstar was involved in a high-stakes sabacc tournament between competing junkyard owners and scavengers in the Outer Rim. He came in third and walked away with a barge filled with high-tech salvage. When going through the wreckages, he came across a peculiar starfighter that looked like it was cut clean in half, as if a ship was going into hyperspace, cut it in half. I see what you're doing. Nice. Anyway, it was discovered that this was truly an advanced ship, so he went to work and used what he had in his salvage yard to create a working starfighter that is truly a ship to be reckoned with. The influence was the lore behind the TIE Silencer from the Star Wars Complete Vehicles book and online info stating that the twin-ion thrust-away was inspired by the Millennium Falcon as well as the protruding cockpit. Oh, okay. That actually makes sense. If it's Kylo Ren's ship, he probably actually flew the Millennium Falcon at one point and understood the positives and the good design features that the Millennium Falcon had. That's interesting. I didn't know that. He included these features were included along with a radar dish and headlights from the Falcon. Also included the silencer's deflector shield generators and projectors as the top cylindrical assemblies above and behind the cockpit. Oh, okay. Now there's the radar dish, like the Millennium Falcon. Oh, what a cool idea! Oh man, that's awesome. The ship retains the incredible weapons capabilities, agility, along with the fastest hyperdrive possible. However, the advanced stealth field generator was lost during the construction. Okay, all right. So see, that's a good thing to balance. It's like, oh, it's got all the best things from the Millennium Falcon, all the best things from the TIE Silencer, but there were some things that were lost. It's like, that makes perfect sense. Okay, that's really cool. So he also says that short and sweet, took the TIE Silencer, sliced it in half, and added a YT-1300 cockpit in the middle. Father and son together fighting evil. That's awesome. All right, we got our little droid friend right there as well. For a minute, I actually thought the droid was built into the ship, and that got me even more excited. It's not, but it's a really clever place to put him. Right up underneath the rounded edges there. Man, those stickers look amazing. Where the heck did you get those? Oh, man. That's really good. Man, it's really good use of stickers. I just want to know where you got them because I want those stickers. They're really good stickers. I do see we get some original E-Wing stickers. Maybe some of the TIE Silencer was used on this, but I think you could probably build this whole ship without the original TIE Silencer parts. Yeah, it doesn't look like it uses that many of them. Honestly. Wow. Cool. I like the idea of the shield generators on top of those canisters. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and again, I didn't know that much about the tie, no pun intended, the tie between the Millennium Falcon and this ship. That's pretty cool. I had no idea that they did that. That's pretty awesome. All right, so that is number 6 from Corey. Well, I might need to know where you got those stickers anyway if you end up winning. All right, number 7, and this is Nimbus Bricks. The backstory is that this is the Mynock Tri-Fighter. As a young aspiring engineer at one of Coruscant's many academies, our pilot got to see firsthand the destruction brought upon his home by the Confederacy of Independent Systems, or CIS. Seeing the thousands of droid fighters swarming over the skies, he was of course terrified, but the engineer in him couldn't help but be amazed by the speed and agility of the droid fighters. One that especially got to him was the droid Tri-Fighter. That was an astonishing craft. In his adult life, he kept this thought with him, and when the Tarkin doctrine became too much for him, he joined up with one of the many rebel cells. He visited the scrapyards of Braca and found one of the old droid Tri-Fighters and started tinkering. Yeah, nice inclusion of planets and stuff from the video games. That's great. Salvage planet, Braca. His biggest task was to remove the droid brain and instead rewire all the flight controls to a custom-built cockpit. Yes, that would be difficult. With specially designed ion thrust-seeking missiles and 2 quad laser cannons. Ooh, beefed it up. Nice. He became a real asset to the Rebel Alliance and a bane to many TIE fighter pilots. His name remains a mystery, but he can still be seen flying with the New Republic's finest. Ooh, it's kind of hiding his identity. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all, actually. I thought I would. I was like, man, we want to know who these people are, but at the same time, I mean, if he's the best, he's the best. That droid Tri-Fighter, definitely one of my favorite designs for a ship. Just everything about it, like you look at the original pictures of the ship that was designed for episode 3, I believe. It looks amazing. It's so Star Wars and yet so unique. It's incredible. All right, there we get a nice good view of the back of the ship. This would be a fun ship to fly. I would actually feel very comfortable flying that ship, I think, because even though you've got these bubbles on both sides, you can still see the wings, the tri-wings, one above you and the 2 on the side. You've got all your controls and everything. It's great. There's our exposed engine section as parts that have had to be replaced from the salvage. That's really that's clever. Good job. I did check each of these to make sure that they did qualify for Mynock Squadron, but sometimes once I say yes, I usually don't think about it anymore. Some of you may notice as well that these are not in alphabetical order like I've done in years past. I finally figured out a way to keep them in the order in which they were received. So we started from the people who submitted first, and we'll go all the way to the people who submitted last. So there we go. That is number 7. We are almost halfway through the submissions. All right, number 8, we have Aiden. This is the TIE Aggressor, heavy fighter and air-to-ground role. Its crew is 1 pilot and 1 astromech. Munitions are a heavy, incendiary, and explosive. Weapons, it has 2 frontal cannons, 1 rear rotating defense turret, and 4 torpedoes. That is awesome. I have seen the TIE Aggressor before, and it doesn't always turn out great. But this is, oh, wow, good job. I can see the modifications that you made from the original design. That is not easy to do, because the TIE Aggressor, not a lot of people have built this in Lego. I'm sure somebody will point out that, oh, there's been like 20 different versions of it. Yeah, probably. But it's not something that I see that often. I mean, if you're talking 20 people who have done a TIE Aggressor over the years, and then the 8 million people who've built their own version of a basic TIE fighter. So it's still pretty rare. The pilot was part of a Special Forces Imperial TIE Aggressor Squadron, but was never a hardcore Imperial and only joined the Navy for the thrill and the experience. After the Galactic Civil War, he had a hard time finding a suitable occupation with his skill set, and that would lead you to join up with the Rebellion and Resistance. So, good job. That's fun. Oh, man, I don't know what that is, but that's great. Something about this picture here is just really capturing me. The black droid and the black TIE pilot using the Star Wars Resistance cartoon. I can't remember that guy's name, but that skull painted TIE pilot helmet is one of the coolest helmets in Lego Star Wars. I will tell you that for free. There we get a really good top view of those exposed engine parts inside. Oh, that's really cool. Man, that looks really good. Fantastic job. The fact that most of the ship is red is very interesting. Like, usually you'll see a lot of minor accents, but Aiden just went all in on that red, and it's really nice looking. That definitely stands out in a crowd, and definitely would scare the crud out of a few, actually, not only Imperials, but also some of your allies would definitely be afraid seeing that thing. Okay, who's this guy with? I'm assuming that the red and black is probably not what the original colors were, and would have adapted into Mynock Squadron from that. All right, Aiden, you were number 8. And now we go on to number 9. This is by Awesome Bro Bricks. That is not the picture we wanted to start with. What's going on here? There we go. I don't know what happened there, Awesome Bro. All right, let's get to reading. In the early days of the rebellion against the Galactic Empire, a daring mission unfolded on Corellia. Deep within an Imperial research facility, Alliance intelligence uncovered plans for an advanced starfighter, an early prototype known as the Starlance Interceptor. Ooh, Starlance. That's a good name. This sleek vessel was designed as a successor to the Delta 7 Aether Sprite. Oh, man. I don't think I've actually said that out loud. Aether Sprite. Delta 7 Aether Sprite. Promised unparalleled speed and agility, making it a potential game changer for the Rebellion's starfighter fleet. Commander Ronin Stark, oh dude, come on, loving that, renowned for his audacious maneuvers and strategic brilliance, led the mission to acquire the Starlance. Accompanied by elite operatives, Ronin infiltrated a heavily guarded facility under darkness. Their objective, seize the Starlance prototype before the Empire could mass produce it. Against formidable odds, Ronin and his team breached the facility's defenses. Overcoming patrols and security systems, they located the hangar where the Starlance prototype was housed. Surrounded by technicians and guarded by a squadron of TIE fighters in a daring aerial battle, Ronin and his squadron engaged the Imperial forces, drawing upon their skill and determination to overcome superior numbers. Oh man, that almost sounds like I should jump into the Clone Wars accent, right? With precision and tenacity, they disabled the TIE fighter escorts and secured the Starlance Interceptor. Ronin himself piloted the prototype out of the hangar, evading pursuing Imperial forces through Corelli's industrial corridors. Okay, I'm not that good at it, but just the storytelling is really good here, and it makes it feel like I'm watching Star Wars. This is great. The successful acquisition of the Starlance marked a pivotal moment for the rebellion. Ronin Stark became renowned as the pilot who brought the advanced starfighter into Alliance hands, earning him the respect of his fellow rebels and solidifying his role in the ongoing struggle against tyranny. As the rebellion transitioned into the New Republic era, Ronin continued to fly the Starlance Interceptor in battles against Imperial remnants and other threats to galactic peace. His skill and leadership in the cockpit made him a legend among New Republic pilots, and the Starlance itself became a symbol of hope and defiance against the darkness of the past. Years of service and numerous victories forged a deep bond between Ronin Stark and his ship. As the New Republic expanded its military forces... Expanded? Did they? Yeah, they did. I mean, they had to take over the galaxy. Sorry, I'm thinking Resistance era when they kind of were, in a lot of ways, decommissioning their military. But that was years later. Ronin felt compelled to join the prestigious Mynock Squadron, renowned for its exceptional pilots and daring missions against Imperial remnants. What drew Ronin to Mynock Squadron? Was not just its reputation, but also the opportunity to continue making a significant impact. He saw Mynock Squadron as a force multiplier, a chance to amplify his contribution to the New Republic's efforts in rebuilding a stable galactic order. Moreover, Ronin admired the camaraderie and shared purpose among the Mynock Squadron pilots, their commitment to defending the ideals of the New Republic resonating deeply with his own beliefs. In his application, Ronin emphasized his combat record, leadership skills, and intimate familiarity with the Starlance Interceptor, his personal ship. All right, so here we have an underside view of the ship with a bunch of greebles and exposed parts. It's awesome. That red V line is really nice. I like the thin stripes. It's something that I tried to incorporate on ships on my own. Are those Freemaker symbols on the back? Oh, I never got those sets, and I actually didn't even watch the show until it was on Disney Plus, and I found it, and I watched through the entire thing, and dang, that show is pretty good. I don't know why I thought it wouldn't be good. It's Lego Star Wars. They usually knock it out of the park pretty well. That's a beefy, awesome ship. Congratulations. So that was number 9 from Awesome Bro Bricks. Number 10 we have from Michael. One of a dizzying number of different ugly configurations, these type of ships are popular with pirates, mercenaries, scavengers, rogue traders, shadow scouts, and other unsavory Outer Rim types. For both their dirt cheap prices and the general availability of replacement, albeit substandard parts, from older generations of ships. Reliability is only a tertiary concern. That means 3. But a few of these designs are far more sturdy than their outward appearance might otherwise indicate. While Imperial fighters hopelessly outclass them, these crafts are more than a match for slow, ungainly tramp freighters that operate far from the relative safety of the star lanes. The model flown by N1G3L is deceptively deadly, for despite the obvious cobbled-together appearance common to these types of ships, the base components are very high quality. Nice. The hull and outward appearance are based on Kuat Systems Engineering ETA 2. Sorry, I always say ETA 2. It's ETA 2 Actis class interceptor combined with partial TIE interceptor solar panels. The rear fin assembly of a Delta 7 Ether Sprite. Oh, dang it. Not another Ether Sprite. I hope I'm saying that right. To this is added the fusion reactor, nav computer, and sensor jammers from an RZ-1 A-wing and the solar ionization reactor, targeting computers, shield generators, and passive scanners of a TIE Defender. The weapons loadout consists of 2 laser cannons from the two laser cannons on the TIE Interceptor wings, 2 medium cannons mounted on the chin of the cockpit, and 1 torpedo launcher that at max holds 4 to 5 torpedoes. The triangular wings and solar ionization reactor of the TIE Defender have been modified to work with 3 PSZ-9 ion engines newly added to the ugly ETA Delta 7T Scepter, which propel the ugly ETA Delta 7T Scepter to a speed of 1,450 kilometers per hour. So that's those engines. Oh man, that's beautiful. Okay, sorry. It is proven capable of handling itself in a fight, and no space is wasted on trivial things like life support systems, consumables, acceleration compensators, or environmental controls, because N1G3L is a droid that does not need such superfluous amenities. Oh no, did I not save a picture of the droid? So, I don't think I did. I'm sorry. I thought we had one there, Michael. All right. So, this is a droid pilot. We do see the exposed section on the engine on the right of this picture. I think one of my favorite parts of this is that right there. That rear fin. Oh my goodness. I hope you guys understand how cool that is, because it takes the TIE Fighter wing, the solar panel wing design of the gray and the black, but then takes the Ether Sprite Delta 7 Interceptor fin on the back of it and then combines those two together. What a smart idea. That's so good. And it looks great on this ship. Oh man. Every once in a while, I'm just blown away. I say every once in a while, I'm constantly blown away by everybody who joins these contests. This is absolutely incredible. So that is number 10 by Michael. Good job. Next up, we have Julius for number 11. This is a modified A-Wing combined with a TIE Interceptor. The pilot who built it used to fly an A-Wing, but he thought it lacked flexibility and it was too scratchy. So therefore, he protected the front so much more to make it more agile. He took the auto thruster and the wings from a TIE Interceptor and put it on his modified A-Wing. This is very cool. So we even incorporated an astromech. We've got TIE Interceptor wings. We've got some exposed engine parts in the back, and that cockpit looks really cool. This is definitely going to be a hard one to build because it is actually quite smooth. But I gotta say, it would be. I'd be interested in trying to figure out how to build something like this, even if we didn't. Yeah, if this one didn't win, I'd still be interested to see how it was built, because that is some tricky stuff. Oh, man, more good cockpit stuff. All right, let's see. And then, rotating wings. I'm a sucker for the rotating wings, guys. You guys know that. Wow, a great job, Julius. Hopefully, this all went together without any tricking of the Lego pieces so that they would go into place without actually fitting in place, if you know what I mean. That would be awesome. I hope this is actually buildable, because this could be a fun one. Absolutely. All right, so that is number 11 for Julius. Congratulations and good luck. Next up, we have, for number 12, we have Andrew. Man, sorry guys, I'm not getting great first pictures. I don't know why they're out of order from what I originally planned. So, this has 6 thrusters and a very exposed ion engine. The side view shows the wings and TIE Interceptor wing modified so the top wing doesn't block the view from the cockpit. Okay, so they're TIE Interceptor wings that are cut back. Very nice. As well as a middle section that has been extended forward for better in-atmosphere aerodynamic handling. Very good. The console, as well as some exhaust ports for the cooling manifold that goes along the center of the front section. On top, the ion torpedo cannon taken from an X-Wing and some closer images of the exposed engine. Oh, there's that side picture. You know what? That reminds me of a guy here in my local Lego user group, Utah Lego user group, does World War II versions of Star Wars vehicles, Star Wars ships, and the shaping here reminds me a little bit of his German TIE Interceptor, based off of one of the Messerschmitts, I think. But yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty awesome, actually. The pilot, who before joining the Resistance was a racing pilot, has always been accustomed to fast-moving ships and shooting targets with said ships during certain relay races. For these reasons, instead of relying on a droid, he has opted to boost his communications capabilities to stay in tune with his squadron better. Oh, that is interesting. So actually, oh my gosh, what am I trying to say? He chose to forego relying on a droid and instead went for additional communications. This definitely, from this angle, definitely feels like a World War II ship. And I really like that. Tons of exposed parts, good angles. I mean, this is a pretty impressive build. I don't even know where I would start on something like this. I wonder if you guys are like me, where you just start building and you just figure it out as you go, and that totally works. All right. Oh, for a second I got lost there. Yeah, we're on number 12. This is Andrew. Got a few cool pictures. I think these might just be scaled down versions of some other ones. But yeah, congratulations, Andrew. Man, I really like this side profile. That's really good. Those wings down below, I think, were pulled straight off of the Major Von Reg's interceptor from Star Wars Resistance. That's cool. Sorry, there are only four pictures in this one, and I have them numbered. So I keep skipping over to the next one. I apologize, Andrew. Your ship is awesome. It's very good design, very well thought out. I love the transitions between the viewing and the interceptor parts. Even the back bar across the back. That's kind of like a hyperdrive ring of sorts. It's pretty cool. All right. Well, congratulations, number 12. Great job and good luck. Next up is number 13 from Tim. The pilot's name is Garrick Kenobi. Has an astromech R2H45. The pilot qualifications is he's a professional racing pilot, an engineer. So definitely has some good backstory there. Definitely got some exposed engine parts. That's awesome. And yeah, I half of me wonders if this is the year where we're gonna break the mold of the gray and red and black. It's in the back of my mind. I'm thinking about it. All right, so for the Starfighter and backstory. The Starfighter is a modified N1 Starfighter. If you knew what that was already, a lot of you will. So there you go. The N1 was found in a junk pile on Corellia by its pilot, Garrick Kenobi. Garrick is a professional racing pilot and an engineer from Corellia. Garrick found the N1 in a dismantled and shell-like state, as a majority of its internal parts were missing, except for a burnt-out R2 unit and the original repulsorless. Garrick bought the shell of the N1 as spare parts for his modified viewing starfighter until he inevitably crashed the viewing due to atmospheric entry heating causing an engine failure while he had attempted to enter the atmosphere of Tatooine. Sorry. My mouth is not keeping up with my brain. After the destruction of his viewing, Garrick would spend a whole year collecting parts to repair the N1 and track down 2 Nubian 221 sublight engines and a Mynock C4 hyperdrive. It's a good thing I don't actually know what half of the things you guys talk about actually are, like the numbers and stuff like that, but I know there are people out there who do appreciate that, so congratulations. You guys are doing a great job. After repairing the N1 Starfighter to somewhat working condition, Garrick would upgrade the Nubian engines with a variety of parts from various ships, including YT-1300s, T-65 X-Wings, and the cooling intakes from a stolen New Republic E-Wing. Garrick would also upgrade the ship by replacing 2 laser cannons with 2 ARC-170 tail laser cannons. Oh, interesting. That's cool. Adding a modified cockpit canopy from a BTLA-4 Y-Wing. I did notice the canopy change. Yep. Exactly. To replace the original missing canopy, and a number of air brakes to assist in slowing down during atmosphere re-entry. Yeah, because his previous ship blew up. So that's why we've got those pod racing flaps. The Anakin Skywalker pod racing flaps on the back of the engines. Very cool. Very good idea. As well as repairing the burnt-out R2 unit that is now permanently linked to a majority of the Starfighter systems due to those repairs. Okay, so only part of the R2 was recovered, but you were able to integrate him into the ship. Nice. The R2 was given the designation R2H45 as a temperamental astromech droid. To Garrick's annoyance, however, H45 commonly complains about the nav computer not doing its job, despite the droid knowing that the N1 doesn't have a nav computer anymore. So the R2 unit is complaining about, hey, the nav computer is screwing up. It's like you are the nav computer, R2. That's pretty funny. I like that. That's a fun story. It's a fun background. Garrick would spend 3 years illegally racing the N1 Starfighter after restoring it, and would multiple times get arrested by New Republic officers. Upon being released from custody at a New Republic outpost after being arrested for his 24th time, Garrick was taken aside by a New Republic pilot who told Garrick, "Kid, you fly that old N1 pretty well. I think you should put those skills of yours to better use," and told Garrick about Mynock Squadron and told him where to sign up to join, thus leading Garrick to putting in an application for Mynock Squadron and ending up with his name on the list of applicants who, just like him, seek to join Mynock Squadron. All right, Tim, that was awesome. So Tim is number 13, and then we'll go ahead and move on. We'll go through those pictures one more time. I like those exhausts. Those are nice. The angles on the ship are not easy to get for an N1, and it's definitely well represented here. I cannot see a point on this ship where you took an existing N1 Starfighter set and added onto it. I think this was completely built from scratch, so that's impressive. Even I start with sets in a lot of cases. So congratulations, Tim, number 13. And we'll go to number 14 is from Sam. This is Eric Starfollower's Starfighter, a modified E-Wing chassis with 2 heavily modified X-Wing engines attached to the fuselage. While building this fighter, Eric found a problem with other starfighters. Although they were fast and maneuverable, their hull and sometimes their shields were very weak, making them easy prey for Imperial forces. He also noticed that the ones that were not as fast had very minute armor plating, relying solely on shield generators to keep the ships alive. Eric did not want one of those types of ships. He wanted to build a ship that had thick armor plating like the Y-Wing, yet was as maneuverable as the X-Wing. Eric continued to build the ship with multiple layers of alasteel, a metal that was used in many capital ships. He also painted black and red ferrosphere paint on it, which jams any missile locks. Ooh. I think that's one of the first times I've ever heard somebody talk about the paint on a ship being useful towards it. But we paint military, like fighter aircraft in modern day for specific like radar blocking technology. So that's pretty good. That's actually a good thought. On the fighter, addressing the speed issue, he modified 2 T-65B X-Wing engines, doubling their output by opening the intake and strapping them on struts of the main body. The changes greatly aided Eric in the construction of a perfect fighter. Eric also attached 4 external hardpoints for laser-guided bombs and anti-fighter missiles. After Eric finished building his ship, it could withstand multiple hits from laser cannons, shoot down any enemy fighters with its anti-ship missiles, and hit targets from a mile away with the ship's laser-guided bombs. Eric's ambitious design and ingenuity earned him a spot in the contest to win a place into one of the most revered squadrons in the New Republic. All right. Yeah, we can see a missile being fired. That's really good. I've never been good at doing those kind of missile firing effects, so that's pretty awesome. The ship is very smooth. Like very studless, which is pretty awesome. The cockpit is pretty cool. Even have a stick in the middle, and then the odd width computer display. It looks really good. Okay, so at first I thought the whole ship was part of that, but it looks like it doesn't have landing gear, but it has a landing spot that it lands on top of, like a docking spot. That's pretty cool. I like the refueling stuff, the missile replenishment. That's great. So smart. Yeah, there's the little guy moving the missile up the ladder for him. That's great. The exposed side of the engines on this one side, you can see that for the exposure part of Mynock Squadron. Missiles underneath, and so we got 2 in the middle and then 2 on the sides. It looks like they're using different missile types for different applications. And there's one of them firing again. It does have an offset red stripe on it, which is awesome. That you guys know I like stripes and I like asymmetry, even if I'm not good at it. And this is number 14. So congratulations, Sam, on entering the contest. And good luck with the voting stage. Next up, we have Jack. This heavily modified N1 Naboo starfighter, not the first we've seen. It's a very popular starfighter. As a matter of fact, the Naboo N1 starfighter already is represented in Mynock Squadron in from one ship. I'm not against having multiples at all. But then the Mandalorian came out like a year later and had a modified N1 starfighter. So, hey, Mynock Squadron is well familiar with the N1s. So it was originally used by pilots of the Theed Palace on Naboo, but then was stolen by pirates, of which one of the pirates kept and modified it. The pirate joined the rebellion a couple years later and was such a good pilot they decided to join him to the Mynock Squadron. The vehicle was mostly flown in atmosphere due to the heavy modifications, but could also be flown in space if the pilot had a helmet or a mask with an oxygen tank. Oh, it doesn't have life support, not space support, but it does have in-atmosphere filtering, and it's kind of like having the fan on in your car or something like that, I guess. But this is a very tight design. Like, it's very close together, but dang, it looks really good. Those little fins on the back are neat. It's interesting that the ship would need to be carried through hyperspace. So maybe if this one were to win, we could figure out some sort of a docking mechanism to be able to attach to one of the others. But that is a really tight design. I love the extra little fins around the ship, the little red ones on the back, gray ones on the front. I like the color change. It's much more red than the black or gray, and most of the Mynock Squadron stuff is pretty black and gray before red, and red's more of an accent, but this pops. I really like it. Man, just the color change of an N1 starfighter, getting rid of the yellow and going with red is a really good idea. So congratulations, Jack. You are number 15. Number 16, we have an entry from Nicholas. My pilot, Sherloga, found an old Eta 2 Actis class interceptor on an old Imperial scrapyard while on a mission. He repaired and heavily modified it to make it his own. With the ship, he already did a ton of successful missions and now wants to join the legendary Mynock Squadron to test his limits. Sher named the ship the Cut Wing because after the heavy modifications, there was no space for the original wings to be folded down anymore. So he cut them off and replaced them with smaller, non-folding ones. Oh, okay. Oh, look, here's a good comparison with a custom E-Wing. Okay, so he got rid of all the flaps on the side. I love the exposed piping on this ship. It looks so cool. But it doesn't look like it's just exposed engine parts. It looks like, no, I wanted it to look like this. I wanted to see every part of the ship and be able to access it easy. That's perfect. I love it. So he modified the engines and cannons to get more power through external power connections, but for that he also needed to remove the astromech slot. He built in 2 extra engines on the wings and also built in a hyperdrive. He really wanted to build a hyperdrive ring, but I don't know if you guys have ever built a hyperdrive ring or anything round out of Lego. It is insane. It is very difficult. Hyperdrive rings, there's a reason why Lego has only built 2 hyperdrive rings in the last, 25 years now of Lego Star Wars. There have been 2 hyperdrive rings total in all of Lego Star Wars. 2. Ever. Ugh. Crazy. Anyway. But he didn't have time, so it makes sense in the lore that he built the ship himself and added hyperdrive parts. Yep, totally believable. It totally works. In addition to the 4 original laser and ion cannons, the ship now has 2 extra twin laser cannons on the wings. Yeah, we can definitely see that from this picture. And then landing, the wings can fold up a little bit so the ship can land on them. Oh, okay. That's awesome. So there we go. There's our Eta 2 Active Class Interceptor, the 2 long-barreled cannons on the front, the 4 barrels off the side on the wings. Ooh, yeah, there's those extra engines he was talking about. Those look really good. I like the purple. Man. Oh, sorry. I wasn't keeping track of the number of pictures. I was just going through it. Sorry. Look, I'm tired. I apologize to everybody. I'm trying to keep everything really even for everybody, but sometimes it doesn't work. And some ships, you know, just need a little bit more attention, need a little bit more going through, or have a little bit more stuff going on. So, but we're trying to let you guys have an equal amount of time through the entire video. So good job on this Eta 2 Actis Interceptor. Once again, a nice comparison picture so you can kind of gauge some sizing. Although that E-Wing looks like a mock as well, if I'm not mistaken. The cockpit looks really good too. The seat's nice. The little displays up on the side. Oh, that's really good. That's really cool. I'll have to try to incorporate that into stuff that I do. All right. That is number 16. And that is our friend Nicholas. Moving on to number 17. This is from Sai. All right. And the text for this one is actually on the pictures themselves. So there's a weapons bay underneath. You can see it open on the left, closed on the right. They can carry 5 missiles, which serve as both space-to-space missiles and air-to-air missiles. Oh, yeah. All right. Nice. Giving us the SSM and AAM instead of just the AAM. Very nice. So this E-Wing prototype was designed by Income Corporation for the New Republic after Palpatine's death. The ship had a lot of firepower, consisting of twin heavy laser cannons, many proton torpedoes, 1 ion cannon, and a weapons bay under the ship which could store 5 missiles. The ship does not have any hardpoints to prevent atmospheric drag and risk of explosion during space dogfights. The ship has a hyperdrive. It does not have landing gear to save space and weight for the ion cannon and proton torpedo launcher. Due to this, it leans on its nose when it's landed. Yeah, it lands on the wings and nose. That's awesome. I can just come in. It kind of describes Mynock Squadron to a T, doesn't it? All right, the cannon on the left is a proton torpedo launcher not capable of minor destruction to capital ships. The cannon on the right is a small ion cannon which can cause malfunctions to starfighters and other small ships only. Oh, so it's not a very powerful ion cannon, but you can disable some ships. So it's definitely more of an interceptor than a fighter, I think, in that role. 4 thrusters and hyperdrive. I imagine that the one in the middle, the large round cone, probably houses the hyperdrive. If in my own head canon, it would be removable from the back end. Sorry, I hit the mic again. All right, and then there's the exposed section of parts on the wing. So modified E-Wing, definitely not. I'm trying to think of its role, and I think it probably would end up being more of an interceptor than a fighter. But that's totally fine. We use interceptors all the time. They are great, and they are fast. Actually, I usually run interceptors when I play Battlefront 2 in the ship arena, the space arena. So that's pretty cool. Congratulations, Sai. You were number 17. Number 18, we have Bence. All right. And Bence has entered Mynock Squadron. This is his 3rd year. His first 2 years, he entered different versions of a Delta 7 intercept Jedi Starfighter, and had a disassembled hyperdrive ring to go with it. So that was pretty cool. But this year, he's gone for a Geonosian Starfighter. Definitely has some exposed engine stuff on the back. I don't think that they originally had hyperdrive, so my headcanon would say that this would be a hyperdrive of some sort. This is a great ship. This is awesome. I have always had a soft spot in my heart for the Geonosian Starfighter. And I think part of that has to do with one of my very first Lego sets was for Star Wars that I could actually afford and get was the Geonosian Starfighter. And that was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I like the exposed engine part in the back. You can actually see some transparent like flame or energy that's going from the front towards the back. That's pretty cool. It even also looks like a traditional car engine with those 2 little V pistons coming out of the top. That's pretty cool. Very fun design. Really good design, Benz. This is fun. I really like it. Yeah, that ship is, there's something about it. I think another part of it is it feels like a motorcycle because it's very tall and thin and kind of pivots on itself. So, yeah. Yeah, I always had a soft spot for those Geonosian Starfighters. They're pretty awesome. Well, congratulations, Bence. You did a great job. And again, this is number 18. Bence had some big background on his previous ship. And this year, he did message me and say, I just didn't have time for a backstory this time. And yeah, it happens. You can submit one if you want to. It's not required. So, but then you try to let your ship speak for itself, which can be a little hard sometimes. But in this case, I think it worked out not terribly. I think it looks pretty good. And doesn't necessarily have to have a background. I think it's just kind of fun to see. All right. So that's Bence. That is number 18. Next up, we have number 19. And this is Lego EXE. Oh, shoot. I need to check something. Oh, come on. All right. 3, 2, 1. And next up, with number 19, we have Lego EXE. And while Lego EXE has won in contests in the past, it was never first place, and so he's never entered the Parzival category. So here we go again. See if we can get you in there. So Lego EXE. This is a highly modified Delta 7B Aether Sprite. Aether Sprite. Dang it! You guys are always gonna get me with that. Class Starfighter. You know what? If I make too big of a deal about it, the problem is next year they're all going to be Delta 7s. And I'm just going to call them Delta 7s. I'm not going to call them Aether Sprites. I'm going to call them Delta 7s. So anyway, this one belonging to a former Imperial pilot, Romulus Granada. His first deployment as a TIE fighter pilot was during the Battle of Endor. He later defected and worked for various Imperial remnants, often for the highest bidder. His modified Delta 7B is equipped with 2 turbocharged medium laser cannons, 1 rapid-fire heavy blaster cannon, as well as 2 pairs of heavy proton torpedoes underneath the hull. The ship has a top atmospheric speed of 1,525 kilometers an hour. Romulus equipped his ship with a Class 1.5 hyperdrive, so it's not the fastest in the universe or the galaxy, but it's definitely on the top end. But he actually had to downgrade the shielding from 50 SBD to 20 SBD. Ooh, that's not good, especially because I don't know what that means. I'm glad that so many of you guys know all these terms and everything. It makes me feel a little bit better, but also worse for not knowing them than myself. Oh well. The ship has a weak spot under the hull with exposed machinery behind the rapid-fire blaster cannon. Enjoy the build. All right. So this is going to be fun because we're going to see some stuff on this ship. So we've got the extra cannons. We've got the 2 cannons on the front, but then the big one right down the middle. That's pretty cool. Oh, we've seen this before where we have the slit engines and the round engines combined on a single ship. A couple little antennas on the back. There's the underside. Ooh, this looks complicated. I just kind of got a little trepidation and fear about trying to build this thing in real life. No, it actually looks pretty good. I don't see any clipping where pieces intersect each other, so I think this is a doable build. That's not terrible. We see some large missiles on the underside. Ooh, those almost looked like landing gear, but it's the missile launching system that attach the missiles to the ship. I was like, hey, are those landing gear right behind the missiles? They're not, thankfully. All right. Another nice view of the underside right there. It's got some cool little greebles, cool ideas. Some anti-stud work, which is pretty awesome. Man, another great build from Lego EXE. So congratulations and good luck. All right, that was number 19. Number 20, we have Dirk. And this ship is called the Bandit. It's a modified cloak-shaped starfighter piloted by Sagan Kral. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with this, which I am not super familiar with, but there is the new Star Wars game, a card game, Star Wars Unlimited, and I play it, and I have seen this ship on one of the cards. I think it's a Privateer Sick, if I'm not mistaken. I could be completely wrong on that, but I know that this ship makes an appearance in there, so I am familiar somewhat with it. All right, so this ship is known as the Bandit. It is a modified cloak-shaped fighter. Not much is known about the history of the Bandit or of Sagan Kral. What is known is that the ship has been extensively modified. A mechanic who once assisted Kral with repairs remarked that by his estimation, about 90% of the ship had been replaced or modified. Modifications include a stronger power plant, combined with a more powerful engine, greatly increase the top speed. It also powers the integrated Class 2 hyperdrive, laser cannons, and deflector shields. So again, must be a little bit of a weakness on the ship. Can't fit a Class 1 hyperdrive in there, but hey, restrictions are what make these worlds believable, right? It can't be perfect. The power plant does generate more heat, so multiple heat sinks have been installed to minimize the ship's energy signature. Okay, there you go. There's another thing they had to be aware of. Some hull panels have been removed to help dissipate stored heat faster once the threat of detection has passed. All right. I like that. The ship has several external hardpoints. The 4 hardpoints on the ventral side are usually occupied by concussion missiles, but can carry other ordnance. 2 hardpoints were added to the dorsal side to accommodate a variety of specialized pods, such as missile pods, heavy lasers, or sensor suites. So, and then we have another little, some notes from the creator. The cockpit opens and closes by turning the central engine. That's cool. And the upper parts behind the cockpit can be removed for, quote, maintenance access and to see the cockpit mechanism. Okay, so you got kind of a cover there, and then you can either remove it so you can see the mechanism or something like that. That's pretty cool. This is a really good ship. It looks really good. We've got striping. We've got a little bit of asymmetry with the greebles going on there. There's our underside of the ship. Oh, what a good idea to use those pieces as underside slopes. Those little 1x2 things with it's like a toolbox handle. I don't know how else to describe it. But dang, that's really good. Such clever parts usage. I'm always super impressed with you guys. Okay, so, oh my goodness, there's the mechanism for the cockpit. So it actually slides forward using a worm gear and one of those tiles with teeth on it. I wonder if you could achieve something similar with the new police station corkscrew and receiver brick. That would be interesting. So if this one ends up winning, I'm going to try it just to see if we can change it up a little bit. So we'll have to see. All right. And that is number 20 from Dirk. So that is the end. Oh, look at these. Oh, here's some different options for hard points. So you've got missile launchers, laser cannons, half and half, and then communications array that can be attached. That's pretty cool. That's actually really cool. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Awesome. All right. And that is number 20 from Dirk. So real quick, I don't think we have tons of time. There are some really cool backstories for these other ships. Maybe I'll see if I can post these ones separate. But just real quick, everybody make sure to pick your top 4. Leave it in the comments down below. And then for those of you who want to stick around, we'll go ahead and go through some of the returning winners who entered their ships so that they could get a piece of the free exclusive set of instructions for Mynock Squadron. So here we have Kenton, who won a little while back, and this is his modified ARC 170. Oh, he's using those like typewriter pieces at the front. That's really clever. The engines look great. I don't see an opening and closing mechanism for it. So I'm guessing you completely got rid of the S-foils. But man, those cannons are huge, and they look actually exactly like the ARC 170's cannons. That's great. The engines look really good. Man, it's mostly studless. That's pretty darn good there. You're knocking it out of the park once again, Kenton. That's great. And again, we're not voting on these. These were just fun and something that the people who had won before wanted to come in and just participate and get their free set of instructions and move on with the world, move on with their lives. Extra engines on the back. Wow, this is a really cool ship. That's great. All right, so that was Kenton with his ARC 170. And here, believe it or not, is something that I don't know if they were inspired or had seen the previous Mynock Squadrons and this particular type of design being built, but this is very similar to the one I was talking about earlier. But at the same time, whether or not he saw it or not, if he didn't, I mean, people can have the same idea, even if it's years apart. Yeah, because this is a really good idea, and I was shocked that I haven't seen more of this kind of design before. So this is from Ben Bricks, and this is a modified Delta 7 Aether Sprite Interceptor, Jedi Interceptor. Once again, getting me to say it. The design work is pretty good. We've got some good angles. We've got the 2 large hyperdrive engines that is now stuck to permanently, and doesn't take too much space. Oh, is that cheating a little bit? Is that cheating a little bit, Ben Bricks? There we go. We've got 4 of the Mynock Squadron, or 3 of the Mynock Squadron, and the new ship. So that's pretty awesome. Look, even got the pilots right on each one of them. That's pretty cool. That's very impressive. Good job, Ben Bricks. The Mynock Squadron looks so good when it's up on display. I gotta say, you guys have done a fantastic job of building some really neat ships. All right, next up we have Nathan. And this is Nathan's modified ARC 170. ARC 170s are a really cool ship. I'm not surprised at seeing multiple ARC 170s or ARC 170 inspired builds this year. I also really like the pink. You don't see a lot of pink in Lego, so being able to find these kinds of pieces and give that really nice accent. The cockpit, like the whole ship is smaller. It's like a one-man ARC 170, which is great. It's absolutely great. Oh, is that a little droid? Is that a little droid friend? Where were you? Oh, are you right up at the front? Right in the front. That droid sits right in the front of the cockpit. Just like the Delta 7s from the Clone Wars, where the astromech sat right in front of the pilot. That's really cool. So anyway, there's some exposed greebles on each side of the ship. Those actually look really good. Dang. Sorry I didn't see those before. And there you go. There's Nathan's ARC 170 modified. And what would probably be the first girl in Mynock Squadron. Which, hey, I'm not opposed to variety, especially when it comes to adding a woman's touch to the Mynock Squadron. And so instead of red, it's pink. It's fun. That's a fun idea, I think. All right. So, and then our very last one, we have Studless Bricks is their YouTube handle. And we've got Rotating Wing TIE Interceptor, which is really cool. I kind of think the rotating wing is a little bit better than than just the collapsing wing that we saw in like the Mandalorian, because this one can land so much easier on other planets and stuff like that. There's inside the cockpit, and there's a little back view. It looks like we went with the triple engine this time, which is pretty cool. So there we go. Yeah, those are our returning winners category. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Just really quick look. Again, they have some pretty cool backstories, and hopefully I'll be able to post those later. But this video is already really, really long. So we're going to just go back through these builds and call that a video. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Remember to leave your top 4 choices for Mynock Squadron for the first 20, and leave those down in the comments below. We'll count those up, and by next Saturday, we will have a winner. Voting will end at midnight Eastern time on Friday to Saturday, on that Friday to Saturday transition. So, excuse me, you have only 6 days for voting, but that's okay. It's just watching the video once or maybe twice through, finding the ones that you really liked, and putting your stuff down below. So this was an extremely long video. I apologize. You guys have a good one, and we will catch you next time in the Lego room. And until then, play well. Bye.